We continue today on our path to a new primer, looking at advanced preparations. And the advanced preparations must be done before the LEI consultants arrive for a primer construction workshop. If they're not done ahead of time, then often we're not able to complete the manuscript draft in the time allotted, or this takes a lot longer to get the entire primer done. Whereas if they're done ahead of time, then we can help out. So remember, before we did the count the cost, consider the context for the primer and the initial work agreement, and now the advanced preparations. So the advanced preparations has three general areas, and we're looking at chapter 6 of your primer guide. Those areas are to complete the advanced preparation materials, to select the primer construction team, and to select the location for the primer construction workshop. So we're going to be focusing on this PowerPoint on the completing the advanced preparation materials, and there's a couple of sections on this. So most of the advanced preparation materials you can find in Appendix A of your primer construction guide, page 127. There are 5 main parts to the advanced preparation materials: language data worksheet, the teaching guide, the health and agriculture stories, the 36 easy-to-read Bible stories, or the agreed-upon Bible stories if they're going to opt for some different Bible stories, and the small items. These 4 sections, the teaching guide, the health and agriculture stories, the easy-to-read Bible stories, and the small items, are all items that need to be translated. The language data worksheet is something that needs to be filled out. These materials are available in several different languages. We have Spanish, French, Portuguese, and English they can be translated from any of those. So one of the things you want to encourage the local team to do when they have the items translated is to use simple language, not to use grandiose language. If they have a choice between 2 different words for an English word, to choose the simpler of the 2. To write on one side of the paper, and then ultimately we'd like it put in digital form if possible these days. Now the other thing on the teaching guide, you can see this is part of the teaching guide and what the teacher says and does in the full teaching guide. And there's a lot of repetition of the same wording, like this word is blank, read blank. Now the blanks are there because at this point in time we don't know what lesson 1 will be. So these blanks will be filled in during the primer workshop with the words and parts of words that are found in lesson 1 once the team has written it. But in the meantime, we want the basic wording for the teacher's guide to be completed ahead of time. But one of the things you want to encourage the translators to do every time they come to a sentence, to translate it the same way, even though they think it may be repetitious or kind of boring, that it needs to be that way. Otherwise, it'll have to get redone. The other thing we're looking at that they're going to be translating are the health and agriculture lessons, and you can see here we have the lessons that come pre-done: clean water, good food, healthy stomach, diarrhea, milk for baby, mosquitoes and flies, cleanliness and tuberculosis, latrines and AIDS. And then the agriculture lessons: growing food all year, making compost, and using compost. Now, if the team has said that they don't really want agriculture lessons or farming lessons because their people aren't going to be doing any of that, then you can always leave those out. They don't have to translate them. Although they make nice little booklets later. Then the 36 Bible stories. We have the 13 Old Testament stories and then the 23 New Testament stories. And these are all listed in the back in your Appendix A of your book as well. Then the index of small items for translation. This is also very important because this is the little pieces that make up the primer. If they're translated ahead of time, then the facilitator, the LEI consultant, is not having to interrupt the team to do these translations during the workshop, and they can just kind of be cut and pasted into the primer manuscript. Now let's take a little closer look at the language data worksheet, and this is the first part of that Appendix A. And the first part just filled in by, usually better to be filled in by a linguist or a Bible translator or somebody who's familiar with the language in a good way. So the language for the primer, the country, and who's filling it out, and who they are, and why they're filling it out. So basically, the first page, they're going to be putting in the vowels, the vowel clusters, consonants, and consonant clusters that are in the language, and then any tone marks, glottal marks, or other marks that make up the written language. And these are going to be used for the letter counts, and these will be the letters and letter clusters that we will be introducing into the primer. So it's very important that these are accurate. Then also in the language data worksheet are just lists of nouns. These are words we can go back to try and find picture words when we're finding words to introduce new letters, and just kind of help the team find things that they can use in the stories. So there's different kinds of categories. You can look through your Appendix A and see those: animals, birds, and fish, plants and trees, cooking utensils, farming equipment. There's all kinds of things just to help spur their thoughts. You also have a section in that language data worksheet of words that are found in the Bible stories, and it's good if those words match the words that are in the Bible, especially. And so, Bible translator, it's good if they can do that, or they can just go through the Bible that's already in print and pick out the word that's in the Bible itself, and that way we'll use the right one in the primers. So that's all about the letter count and some of those advanced preparation materials that are needed. And in our next video, we're going to look at exactly how to do the letter count that's mentioned in the language data worksheet. So we'll talk to you again in a few moments.